It's working out. Hey, I'm T.A. Charlie, and welcome to the Road to Concord with Professor Joe Bakanovic. Homeroom is on Rumble. You just go to Rumble and search channels for the Road to Concord. It's one word. When you find it, you go ahead and you click follow. It might mean you got to set up an account, but it's fast, it's easy, it's free. I did it, you can do it. For those technologically challenged members of the class, you can also catch us on Facebook and YouTube. After the show, it's uploaded to Podbean, iHeartRadio, Spotify, and BitChute. Just look for The Road to Concord. You can go to the blog page, that's theroadtoconcord.com. That's where you'll find all your show notes, study notes, and handouts for the class. The phone is working. If you don't know how to call in, email us and we'll think about it. Finally, you can email a professor at joe@theroadtoconcord.com. He's a little slow, but he'll eventually get around to emailing you back. This show is currently mainly listener-sponsored. If you are interested in advertising your business on the show, please email us. With that said, we ask for your participation on a value-for-value basis. If you find our show of value to you, then you provide an equivalent portion of your labor and treasure through the donate link on the Road to Concord blog page, the show description on Rumble, and in the comments on the other streams. And thank you to all of you who have and will support this show.
Good morning. It's the Road to Concord. This is January 5th, 2026, first show of the new year. I am your host, Joe Bakanovic. We have Charlie, the producer. He's kind of off in the background there. And then Natasha, the glitchy AI, as she has named herself. Hopefully everybody had the obligatory welcome back speeches here. Hopefully everybody had a good and happy. Hopefully you had a good break. Merry Christmas, all that stuff. Happy New Year, pagan. Anyhow, all of that good stuff. It's good to see y'all back. Those of you who are here yet. This is where we have to start rebuilding our audience again. Every time you take that break, everybody takes off and class scatters, and it might take a couple days or a week or two to get them all back in line again. This is why we ask you to subscribe wherever you listen or watch. Hit the subscription button. That way, whenever we schedule a new show, you'll be notified and you won't miss anything. We've had a few changes, not as many as I was hoping to have done over the break. I always have good intentions. Road to hell is paved with those, isn't it? Anyway, I did do work, just not complete yet. I ran into a book that I've told Charlie, go buy this book. Well, he's in chapter 2, and he agrees it was a worthwhile book. We're probably going to have to do a book study on it, but it's going to be one for the Road to Concord, not We Who Are Lost. Because although it is, it's about the Bible, I'm going to use it to go way over the edge in philosophy with you, because I think this book will help us understand the secular humanists in all their many forms better than you ever have before. We'll see. I'll keep you posted on that. Tomorrow, I'm going to be doing a show on AI because, man, I am learning to hate AI. It has destroyed one of the few pleasures I had left in life, watching informational and documentary films on YouTube or on the TV, and it has absolutely just destroyed it. It's also gotten to the point where I can't trust anything I see on video anymore. So I'm down to the point where if it has not been printed prior to the year 2020, I'm not sure I can trust anything anymore. So, that's just me. Okay. Trump. He has if you're MAGA, you probably, well, if you're true MAGA, I don't think I'm going to really upset you too much today. But if you're actually the cult of Cheeto Jesus within MAGA, well, you know what? You can pretty much just tune out and take off, because I am going to do nothing but tick you off today. I told you before the election that I was going to vote for Trump, and I did, in hope that he was what he was pretending to be. But I was fully prepared for him to prove to me that he's not. Well, he's doing that in ways that I really... This world of ours is... You know that old saying, there are many things I believe that I won't say, but I'll never say anything I don't believe. Well, that's going to be a little difficult here as time goes forward, because there's a lot of things I shouldn't be saying that I want to say. And y'all know me by now, or hopefully the bulk of the class does. I don't have very much of a brain-to-mouth filter as it is. So when you see me checking my big old mouth and saying, no, don't say that, should be a hint as to the level of I'm stepping on there that I don't want to talk about. You know, things that they can be scary, or they can be troubling, or they can just be flat out right. What the heck is he talking about? But case in point, let's look at a few stories this morning and see if I can't make a point for you. Before we get to Trump, well, we're going to start with Trump, but then we're going to go back and look at a few other things. Trump says, and this is the Gateway Pundit, we'll go back in when the crime starts. Trump says he'll redeploy National Guard and use the Insurrection Act in Los Angeles, Chicago, and Portland. Well, I think he means if and when the rioting starts, but he did say when the crime starts, which leaves me to ask the simple, obvious question. When did it stop? I'm serious about that. Chicago's been a cesspool of progressive lawlessness now for over 100 years. When did it stop? It's just getting worse. That's where the first U.S. election was stolen. What are you talking about, Joe? You can't say that. Yeah, I can. We now know beyond shadow of a doubt, not reasonable doubt, shadow of any doubt, that Richard Nixon won the election against JFK. JFK should have never been president. He lost, but it was stolen in Chicago. We know this now. This has been proven. You're not going to find out about it if you're listening to the quote-unquote mainstream media. It's not that it's mainstream. It's just they like to give themselves false titles. But anyway, I digress. My next story for you is going to be right here. It's still in the Gateway Pundit. Make that go away. Make that go away. Okay. It says Representative Byron Donalds blasts the Senate for stonewalling the SAVE Act. House passed bill would require proof of citizenship to vote in federal elections. Eliminate the filibuster. Blah, 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 blah. I have a question for you there. GOP MAGA is going to save us all. Where is this election reform in this country? We gave you the House. We gave you the Senate. We gave you the White House, just like you asked, again. And once again, you Republicans are doing nada. Zip, zilch, nothing. Nothing that we sent you there to do. Well, Joe, we're deporting people. Yes, congratulations. Obama deported more people than Trump did. What? Yeah, read the news. ICE could be deporting at a much faster. Oh, well, Joe, the courts are getting in the way. Oh, that's just like when we give the GOP, the House and the Senate, and they say, well, the Democrats are still getting in the way. We're going to need more people in the House and Senate so we can pass our agenda. Wait a minute. You've got the majority in both. How do the Democrats get in the way? Well, it's rhinos. How long has this dance been going on and you keep drinking the Kool-Aid, Republicans? Excuse me as I borrow a line from my drill instructors, but are you stuck on stupid? It's a serious question. Are you?
Yes, but Joe, we got to have 60 votes.
Why?
It's not a simple majority. Because
Why?
that's
Why do you
the
have
rules.
to have 60?
That's the rules.
Since when?
Since they made those rules.
If I gave you 60, Charlie, then they would find 50 rhinos and say that now we need 100. If I gave them 100, they would find 105 rhinos and say we need 200 senators.
Yep, it's kabuki theater.
It's kabuki theater. So, Gateway Pundit still. Next story. For a month, what's this got to do with Trump, Joe? Pay attention. For a month, a black bear has been living in the basement of a house in California. The homeowner is to sue the state authorities as they are unable or unwilling to remove it. You can't kill that bear because then you'll go to jail. You can't remove the bear because then you'll go to jail. And they won't come remove the bear. So what are you supposed to do? Folks, that's lawlessness. Okay, it's happening in California, maybe not LA, but it's happening. So where's the Insurrection Act and the National Guard to go remove the bear, Mr. Trump? You know, when the crime starts again. Well, this is crime. That bear, that's crime. No, Joe, that's not crime. It's just a bear doing what the bear does. The government is supposed to protect your property. That's one of its primary purposes. You don't believe me? Ask the Founding Fathers. It's in the Declaration of Independence. There's nothing in there about property, Joe. Yes, there is. Yes, there is. If you understand concept, it's there. So why haven't they removed the bear? Okay, well, you know, it's just a bear. How about this one? Violent intruder smashes into home, gets shot. Homeowner faces charges despite acting in self-defense. Mr. Trump, declare the Insurrection Act and send in the National Guard and arrest those authorities that are charging that man with defending his home, his life, his property, his family. Well, Joe, there's probably more to the story. Oh, no. We've got lots of these stories. I've got a whole file folder full of them where people violently break into a house while it's occupied, get themselves shot or hurt by the homeowner, and the homeowner is the one who gets charged. And a lot of times the criminals don't get charged at all. That is not an accident. So, Mr. Trump, why haven't you? Well, that's not the law. He can't do that. The United States Constitution guarantees the citizens of every state with a Republican government. That just means that they can elect representatives, Joe. No, that is not what the Founding Fathers meant by Republican. It meant that you were representative of every citizen of the state equally. Well, Joe, that's just your interpretation. No. It's their words. Go read Madison's notes on the Constitutional Convention. Go read the notes on the ratification of the Bill of Rights. It's there. It's in the records. All we got to do is just go accept what they said. But no, we can't do that. So let's go to another story. Whistleblower inside the DHS uncovered Somali daycare fraud network in 2018. Accurately cited $100 million in fraud and claimed it was funding Al-Shabaab, but Tim Walz did nothing. That's terrorism. So the government knew. Send in the National Guard, Mr. President Trump. Arrest Tim Walz. That right there, folks, is treason. That's the constitutional definition of treason. The governor, Minnesota, was giving aid and comfort to terrorists. Is the National Guard moving? Is it rolling yet? Oh, okay. That's not the lawlessness that Trump was talking about. Okay, I see. I understand. Not the B. Check out this resurfaced 2015 news report about Somalia daycare fraud in Minnesota. Got a comment on the board from Aaron Spikes that says, I'm tired of the BS hearing and nobody gets to wear bracelets yet. They're everyone corrupt or just going along to get along and get rich off our money. Yes, exactly. That you're ahead of the lesson plan, Mr. Spikes. Hold on. We'll get to that. So we have Somali crime all the way back in 2015. That right there, that's a la Obama. Where's the National Guard? Oh, yeah, that's none of that yet. Back to the Gateway Pundit. This is Elon Musk says that it's war after Somali TikToker appears to threaten his life in viral video. TikToker now claims her statement was taken out of context. Let me correct this for you. This is the wrong way to read this story. Gateway Pundit, I'm going to send you a nasty gram. I'm going to tell you to better title your articles. All right, this is the proper way to title this one. Elon Musk says that it's war after Islamic TikToker appears to threaten his life in viral video. Muslim now claims her statement was taken out of context. I am sick and tired of people saying things and then saying, oh, well, I misspoke and I spoke out of context. No, you didn't. You said what you meant. You got caught. There was backlash, and now you're like, I want no consequences. Tough something, said the kitty. Well, you know, in the world I grew up in, but this ain't that world anymore. Back to the Gateway Pundit. Flashback. Minnesota AG Keith Ellison caught on tape promising favors to Somali immigrant fraudsters, including now convicted defendants, in exchange for campaign cash. Why is that man not in jail? That's illegal. And this money is going to Muslims from Somalia, who are then sending the money to terrorists, as well as getting rich off of it. So, once again, I guess President Trump can't find the crime. And I guess we're looking for a more recent crime because, you know, like this was in the past, Joe. You know, it was December 11th, 2021. So long ago, we can barely remember that. Okay, I guess that's not the crime we're looking for. Let's keep seeing if we can find some crime that President Trump does agree with. Okay, once again, back to the Gateway Pundit. Washington State Attorney General Nick Brown appears to threaten journalists for investigating Somali fraud. The freedom of the press shall not be abridged. This would be a violation of the Bill of Rights, which would mean a violation of his oath of office, which means that if the governor of Washington State will not remove him, the president of the United States then has a duty to remove the governor and this state attorney general. And this is in Washington. You know where Portland is up there? I guess we still haven't found the crime that President Trump is looking for. Dang it, man. Let's keep looking. Okay, Gateway Pundit again. Rhino, Ohio Governor Mike DeWine's office dismisses daycare fraud allegations as cost of doing business. He's not a rhino. Let me change this. Great grand MAGA gonna save you from all evil Democrats. Ohio Governor Mike DeWine's office dismisses daycare fraud allegations as, that's just the way things are. Can't do nothing about it. Which means that the governor of Ohio is now stealing from the American people and says, I can't do nothing about it, even though that is actually his duty to enforce the law. He is the chief executive of Ohio. I guess that's still not the crime President Trump is looking for. Dang it, man. All right, Gateway Pundit again. Whoopsie. I can't get rid of that. Okay, Gateway Pundit right there. Driving you crazy, I know. Audio. Trump goes on hilarious tirade about Somali pirates, slams, quote unquote, stupid Tim Walz and Ilhan Omar. Every one of them should be forced to leave this country, including Ilhan Omar. Well, then deport them, President Trump. You have the authority to do that. In fact, you have a constitutional mandate to do that. That's your job. Well, you can't just deport her. Yes, you can. She lied on her immigration papers. We know that. It's a fact. It's been proven. We have the documents. We know she lied. Ergo, she's not a citizen. So why the heck is she still in Congress? And why is she still in the United States? Oh, well, you can't do nothing to the black Muslim woman. Oh, I see. Still not the crime we're looking for. Well, you might want to pay attention to this warning. Because if you're MAGA, you're not upset with me yet. I'm doing everything just fine right now. You're agreeing with me. You got it. We're simpatico. If you're Cheeto Jesus Saves, well, you're probably really ticked off with me right now. But that's because you're not about Make America Great Again. You're about the cult of Trump. General Michael Flynn issues urgent open letter to President Trump, says, "We the people demand accountability. Put some cuffs on some people, Trump." Notice I've quit calling him president because he's not doing the job of a president. By the way, that picture right there of General Flynn, do you know where that come from? That's from the congressional hearings where he told Congress that Obama was giving military aid and comfort to Muslim terrorists trying to overthrow Gaddafi. The same Muslim Al-Qaeda and ISIS terrorists that had declared war on the United States. That is the constitutional definition of treason by the President of the United States at the time, Barack Obama, and nobody did a bloody thing about it. Not even you great saving the world MAGA Republicans. I'm tired of hearing MAGA flap their gums. General Flynn is correct. We're tired of this. So I'm going to ask you there, President Trump, when exactly are you going to find some crime you are going to do something about? Oh, well, the courts, Joe. Oh, bullcrap. Put some of those judges in jail. They are clearly in violation of their oath to the Constitution. Well, they've got to be impeached. No, it doesn't say that. What? It does not say that. There is nowhere in the Constitution where you have to impeach a judge before you can charge him with a crime, or her. The only person that has to be impeached before you can charge and prosecute them for a crime is the president. Ilhan Omar can be charged and prosecuted for lying on her visa papers. Nothing's happening. Charlie, I need a little help, brother man. Would you pop on here for a second? What exactly is the chief executive? What does that mean? The chief executive of of the state or the country. What's that mean?
I can't use the language that's in my head right now.
Yeah, but I mean,
military,
technically,
but he's like he's in charge. He's like, and he's supposed to enforce the law.
You were going to use HMFWI.
Yeah, I was.
Okay, so if he's in charge, what is he exactly in charge of? Is he in charge of making laws?
Not making them, enforcing them.
Enforcing them. So if we've got people breaking laws, federal laws, whose job is it to get rid of them or prosecute them or do something about it?
It's on his shoulders. I mean, he
I guess
can
that's
delegate
Pam
some
Bondi,
of that,
right?
but
I'll ask Pam Bondi to look into this.
No.
Yeah,
You
that's not
tell
the way that
Pam
works.
Bondi,
Yes.
put Hillary Clinton in bracelets and bring her up on charges of treason and form a gallows. And I didn't say that out loud. I'm sorry. That was my outside voice.
Hang him high.
Strike that, YouTube. I didn't mean
so
that.
I was never an officer. I was only a sergeant, but they did put me in charge of 23 little miscreants that all wanted to go in their own direction at the same time. And I can tell you, just with 23 of them, if I suggested it, it never got done. I had to pick a victim and direct them. You shall.
You will. Yes.
And I made it very clear to them that if they did not listen to Sergeant Makanovic, there would be heck to pay. Like, I might actually tell you to go to the next tank and do the fire extinguishers again, huh, BC? Until you figured it out. Okay, so why isn't President Trump doing that?
Because he is just an actor playing out a script.
I'm beginning to think you are absolutely correct.
The political theater that we're engaged in.
I am beginning to think that you are absolutely correct, Mr. Charlie.
I mean, I hate to say that. I voted for him too, but
I know, but when do you think he's going to find some crime he actually wants to do something about?
Yeah. See, that I am so disappointed in Trump because he's done a lot of stuff, but none of it will stick because everything he's done is by executive order. And the next president on day one can do just like Trump did on day one, where he reversed all the executive orders of of Biden and blah, 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 blah. And everything that he has supposedly done is undone in a matter of seconds.
And what are we told by FDR about if it happens in politics?
It's planned that way.
Yeah.
This is my viewpoint. I could be wrong, but my viewpoint is that Trump was put there by the Republicans to rein in they used to call them the Tea Party and all these other people, to bring them back into the plantation and put them back under the bonds of slavery, to keep them in line so that they wouldn't go out and start a third party and disrupt the whole bandwagon.
You mean since Rush Limbaugh died, we needed somebody else?
Yes.
To keep all of the voters on the Republican reservation.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
And because Dan Bongino is starting to become very effective in a different direction than Rush went, they put him in the FBI. Gave him a position he could not refuse. Now, I do not trust Dan anymore. Not anymore.
Yeah.
But he might be able to repair his reputation in my eyes, depending on what he says after, now that he's, now that he's resigned. But I don't expect to hear any truth out of Dan anymore. I don't.
Well,
Dan ruined his reputation in my eyes.
Yeah. I mean, the only way he could redeem himself is if he became a whistleblower for what he found out when he was working there.
Okay. But are you and I going to hold our breath?
I'm not going to hold my breath on that, because he would be destroyed.
Yes. Or killed.
I mean, destroyed, possibly killed,
but at least we have
in
this
some way,
Okay. Well, there is one campaign promise Trump has kept, Charlie. Yeah, I know. But there's one good campaign promise Trump has kept. He's released all the Epstein information.
Yeah.
Oh, no, actually, he didn't.
No.
He came out and said, why are y'all still worried about that?
Yeah. And,
if he was anybody else, you Republicans would be calling him a rhino.
Yeah. They supposedly released all this stuff, but
redacted everything in it.
It redacted. And, that list they keep talking about that now Pam Bondi says never existed. Yeah. Well, it was destroyed most likely, or it's ferreted away somewhere.
You never destroy black. No, well, Charlie, you never destroy blackmail information.
That's true, but it's in a place that will not see the light of day unless somebody.
Boys and girls
needs to.
I don't know if you're aware of this, but there is a flight log from an airport in southern Florida. Yep. This is where all this started. There was a reporter, and I can't remember what city it was in. It's in southern Florida. Might even be Tampa, but it's one of the airports
to mind, but I don't
it's in that area
for sure.
It's one of the airports that Epstein would fly out of when he took people to Epstein Island. And the reporter copied the flight logs. There's you got to sign out who's on those airplanes when they fly. A lot of this information is public. He photocopied all of it, and it got published. And I've got it on my hard drives. You can still find it on the internet. I don't know why we need the Epstein list. We already know who was on those airplanes.
Yeah, you can do the flight logs. Yeah.
So why don't we do that? You don't see those logs anywhere. Nobody ever wants to talk about them. The same people you keep hearing about are in that log.
On there. There's people on there that you don't want to know who they are, because if you do, then you're
going to commit suicide.
Well, did you commit suicide, or did you? But anyway.
Well, look, man. Secretary Brown, when he had that airplane crash, it was just an unfortunate, because he was about to turn evidence against Bill Clinton, and he died in that crash. And there was a survivor. It was a stewardess, an Air Force stewardess, and somehow or another, between the top of the mountain and the bottom of the mountain, she managed to break her neck. Although there was nothing wrong with her at the top. She just cuts and screws and braces, she bruises. She was walking around. She was just fine. But between there and when they got her to the bottom of the mountain, she broke her neck and died. Nobody ever explained that. And when they autopsied Brown, it's just like everything you'd expect to find. In an airplane crash, he died from a bullet in the back of the head. Nothing. It's in the autopsy report.
Well, yeah, that happens when you're in a plane, when it crashes, bullets just,
Well, I'm thinking it was suicide.
Appear.
He shot himself in the back of the head and then caused the plane to crash and killed the stewardess, all after he was assumed room temperature.
Oh, well,
we do know that people have committed suicide by shooting themselves twice in the back of the head with the right hand when they were left-handed, wrapping themselves in a blanket and transporting themselves across town and hiding themselves under a bush in a park.
Yeah.
After having lunch with Hillary Clinton.
Happens all the time.
If you're younger and you don't know what I'm talking about, that's Vince Foster. And that's exactly what the official report is it was suicide. He had been shot in the back of the head twice. Boys and girls, if you shoot yourself in the back of the head once, you can't pull the trigger again. You're dead. But it was suicide, 2 fatal wounds in the back of the head. And then he rolled himself up in a blanket and he transported himself from his office across town to Marcy Park and hid himself under a bush without getting any dirt or dust on his feet. Mm-hmm. And that's a suicide. And nobody ever asked how he got there. Apparently, he did that himself.
Yeah.
We have these type of stories everywhere. That's official records. Now, if that's not the truth, we can't do anything with that. That's what's in the official reports. So you have to wonder, when are we going to find the crime we're looking for? Comment on the board from Foxy Joe. I once ran into a knife 26 times. Yes, there are people who have done that. Yes, there are. There are people who have committed suicide by entirely cutting their own head off with a steak knife. I got a little news flash for you, boys and girls. That is actually literally impossible. You cannot do that. You cannot saw your whole head entirely off your body with a steak knife. It's not possible. It's physically not possible. So whenever Trump, Donald, Don, when are you going to find the crime you're looking for? Well, when we get back, we're going to talk about Venezuela. Maybe we found the crime we're looking for in Venezuela. I wouldn't hold my breath. This I really want to get serious about. I saved this half for the second half of the show. This is not a joke, folks. This is not a game. Trump is selling you a very dangerous move on the promise of cheaper oil. We'll discuss this in 3 minutes. See you after the break. And we're back. Okay. In the news, President Trump, supposedly, he went and he captured himself a Venezuelan. There's been a lot of people on the TV and in the media talking about how this was perfectly legal. I beg to differ. Before we really get into this, then I show you this headlines and I make a few remarks and tell you what I'm looking at. The Constitution, it says that you have to have an act of war declared by Congress before you can use the military and to commit an act of war. If you send United States military forces to attack another nation, that's an act of war. International law defines that as an act of war. The dictionary defines that as an act of war. Common sense defines that as an act of war. But in our pursuit of getting around the law, and this is a biblically based, biblical worldview based show. I'll get to the comment in just a second. Leave it up there, please. If you want to get around the law, God's people have been very good about that. Read the history of Israel. They're constantly doing that, constantly getting punished for it. And that's where oh, what a tangled web we weave when first we practice to deceive. Well, that's what this mess is all about. The results of trying to get around the law. And if you have to do that, you are in the wrong. Comment on the board from Mr. Quest. It says, funny how we deal with corruption in foreign countries while we continuously ignore the corruption from our own government. Well, Mr. Quest, that is not the crime we're looking for. We're looking for things that we can score brownie points with our voters about that has no bearing on whether or not our friends in the Uniparty will blow the whistle on us. So we got to go after people who can't do anything about it, can't defend themselves from us. And if you think Venezuela was going to stop the United States military, you got another thing coming. The United States, one aircraft carrier could probably level Venezuela all by its little old lonesome if it wants to, without ever using nukes. But anyhow, this was an act of war. Anybody who tells you contrary is lying. They may not know they're lying, but they're lying. Say, well, Noriega, Joe, that was litigated and it was said that wasn't an act of war. Lied. Remember, law language. That's the practice of lying logically, which that's an oxymoron. But, I'm tired of this. I don't expect any different from the government anymore. And I don't expect any different from the bulk of the American people anymore. I expect different from only one group of people in the world now. The faithful remnant. I'm unapologetically with this. If you're going to stick with us in 2026, you are liable to be thrown into the pew at any given moment now. On whether it's the Road to Concord or We Who Are Law, it doesn't matter. If you are part of the remnant, the faithful remnant, the remnant that hears and obeys the voice of the Lamb, I expect better out of you. I don't expect perfection. We all stumble, brothers and sisters. But I expect you to get yourself back up, dust off, try to get back on that narrow path and do better. I expect that. I don't know whether or not you agree. I don't care. This is what I expect. And it's only from that small group of people. And that's to who I speak for the rest of this year. If there are others who happen to stumble upon us and we're speaking to them in a way that resonates with them, okay, we all know they're welcome to join the kingdom. That invitation goes to everybody. But that's not who I speak to. I know that I'm supposed to teach Yahweh's people. I'm going to stay on mission. I've been getting outside of my lane a little too often, a little too much, a little too frequently. So, in my lane. And what we have here in Venezuela is a clear act of lawlessness by Trump. Aaron Spikes, I have a question about the remnant. Do we simply lay down to evil? No, but we'll get to that, Mr. Spikes. I know what you're looking for. You're a good zealot. You want to be a Maccabean. Well, be careful. Look what happened because of the Maccabees. You go to war before Yahweh tells you to go to war. Doesn't work out well. So what we're supposed to do, I'm not going to give you all the answers because I don't have them all. But I'll share with you what I believe, and I won't hold back on that. But I'll do it in the time I think that is appropriate. So we have this from the Gateway Pundit. It's a headline. This is watch. It's because it's a video here in the headline. It says, it could have happened. Trump reveals U.S. military is prepared to kill Maduro if necessary. Says he made it to the safe room, but was unable to close the door before troops apprehended him. Had the military killed Maduro in this operation, I would support the impeachment and prosecution for President Trump under U.S. law. It is illegal for the United States presidents to assassinate the leaders of foreign governments. And that's what this would have been, an assassination. This is why the United States military called Gaddafi several minutes before we bombed his house. Did you know we did that? Yes, we called Gaddafi and warned him that we were about to bomb him. He had a chance to get out of his house. He hid himself, but his daughters died in that bombing. He did not have a chance to save anybody but himself. That's why they did it, so that Reagan wouldn't be prosecuted. Next story, also from the Gateway Pundit. Trump says America will take control of quote-unquote stolen oil after socialist dictator Maduro captured. Radical socialist demands Democrats melt down. So I don't know what this thing about the stolen oil is. I don't care. But make no mistake, this is about Venezuela's oil. That's part of what this is about. It's about Venezuela and China. Oh boy, it's about oil in China. And wait till we get to the end of this segment. Something going on here that you may not be aware of. Next one from the Gateway Pundit. Watch, because there's a video in the file. Trump says the U.S. will now run Venezuela until it can be put back on track. We're not afraid of boots on the ground. We're going to make sure that that country is run properly. That is an admission by Trump that he conducted a war on Venezuela, conquered them, and now runs them. He just admitted to treason, high treason, build a gallows treason. I would like to see him prosecuted, please. I don't care about the consequences with the Democrats taking over. The country's already ruined. I'm a law and order type of guy. He just violated the Constitution. He committed treason. I'd like him impeached, charged, prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. And if you have a problem with that, then you're not make America great again. You are make the Republican Party great again. A la Teddy Roosevelt, a la the right wing of the progressive, secular humanist, pagan movement within this country. Well, Joe, just because they're progressives doesn't mean they're pagans. Oh, wait till we bring you another book that we're going to be looking at in 2026. Oh, yes, it does. Yes, it does. Biblical definition of pagan. We'll get to it. That one's going to just, classmate Jimmy Zinker's going to love this book. Another one from the Gateway Pundit. Trump puts Venezuela's new president on notice. Delcy Rodriguez threatened with a fate worse than the capture of tyrant Maduro. So you're going to run the country and you're going to tell its new president what they are and aren't going to do before they've even had a chance to do anything wrong. Like I said, form and function. His actions, I will know them by their fruit. Trump is admitting to being a dictator, everything the left said he was going to be. He has become. He is getting into the Monroe Doctrine. He's meddling in other countries' affairs without committing, without having an act of war by Congress. violation of the Constitution. He is now a criminal. Trump is now, for the first time, I can actually tell you, he is an unindicted criminal. He is a traitor to the United States of America. If this was bad enough to do, there are proper ways to do it. If you cannot get them done through the proper ways, then you go to the states, and the states to their people. There are ways to get this done legally. When you go outside of the law, well, it was the morally right thing to do, Joe. Never. Never morally correct when you violate the spirit of the law. If you're seeing gray, it is a sure sign you're on the wrong side of right. Gateway Pundit. Trump and Rubio fire warning shots at Cuba. Warn communist regimes should be concerned about Maduro's capture. What? Now we're going to go after Cuba? I told you it was Teddy Roosevelt. What? You don't know history. You know, Teddy and the Rough Riders. The Republican Party wants to return to Cuba. Well, the allegation, when you read these stories, the allegation is that it was Cuba's intelligence community actually running the communist coup in Venezuela. And I don't doubt that. Not that I can be sure of anything anymore. But I don't care about that. We're now warning another country that, get in line or we're going to come for you next. I guess Grenada should have been a warning. We'll just invade anybody we want without declaring war, and we're going to, it's legal. Why is it legal? Because we said so, and nobody can stop us. We're the United States. We've got the biggest stick on the block. Teddy Roosevelt again. Gateway Pundit says, sounds good to me. Trump signals possible military operations against Colombia's Marxist leader. Months after Gustavo Petro mocked U.S. and dared arrest. Try and see if you can. Is there anybody we're not going to arrest that's a communist? Oh, yeah, that's right. The mayor of New York. We won't arrest him. Or Governor Newsom. Or Waltz. Or the people in we won't arrest any of the commies in the Democratic Party. Comment on the board from Wade Stavely. If Operation Just Cause was not an act of war, then why did the U.S. Armed Forces receive wartime awards, decorations, and badges, and combat action ribbons? Amen, Mr. Stavely. It was an act of war. You and I both know that as soldiers. This line from Zoran Mamdani's inauguration speech should terrify freedom-loving Americans. Why hasn't this man been arrested? Why aren't you threatening him, Trump? He's a self-proclaimed Marxist. Joe, he's never called himself a Marxist. Oh, yes, he has. He just didn't use that word. If I call myself a Christian, does that mean I believe in Yeshua Messiah? And if I call myself Messianic, does that mean I'm not a Christian? You can have multiple titles, multiple terms, multiple words for the same thing. Feline, cat, gato, tabby. 4 words, 4 different things, right? No. Same thing. But if you think you can change the nature of something by calling it a different word, that's paganism. What? I'm teasing that book we're going to look at. But this is Mandami. And what was that line? What did he say? We will replace the frigidity of rugged individualism with the warmth of collectivism. Okay. Warmth of collectivism? Excuse me, but every time mankind does anything in the name of collectivism, it ends up in millions of cold, rigid individuals being assassinated, murdered, killed, put in concentration camps, and exterminated. Warp my Polish derriere. Zoran Mandami appoints deputy mayor for economic justice. That's a contradiction of terms. You can never have economic justice. He just called himself a Marxist, folks. He pledges to govern New York City as a socialist, democratic socialist, which is another word for Marxist. So, Mr. Trump, when are you going to find a crime that you're going to go punish in the United States? You're all hot to trot to go get Marxists in South America when you're letting them run wild right here in the United States. Somebody please put this golden-haired moron in jail. Give Vance a try. He might actually do the job he was elected to do. Here's another one. You want proof that Trump's not serious? Let me give it to you. Just in, Nicolas Maduro and his wife are indicted in Southern District of New York after being captured and flown out of the country during the Venezuela attack. Trump is the executive. He runs the DOJ, and he can decide where to indict Maduro. But he's going to do it in the very area that indicted him on false charges. One of the most corrupt districts, judicial districts in the nation. That's where Maduro's going to go. Well, nothing can go wrong there, Joe. Oh, you can't make this up. From the Gateway Pundit, 92-year-old Clinton judge who denied Trump's hush money removal to federal court and blocked Venezuelan gang deportations, now assigned to preside over Maduro case in New York. Have you ever noticed how all of these politically charged crimes always end up in Democratic judges' courtrooms? Very seldom Republican-appointed judges end up with any of this stuff. By the very nature of the way these cases are assigned, this should be about a 50-50 thing, but it isn't. It's almost 90% one way. Well, yeah, that doesn't prove anything, Joe. Yes, it does. In the real world, it does. In a courtroom, maybe not, but in the real world, it sure as heck does. So now let me ask you a question. Charlie, pop on here, brother. Let me ask you the question. If I've charged this man in the Southern District of New York, and now that's Clinton judge, who is clearly anti-Trump agenda, is in charge of it, how long before Maduro is released and Trump is charged with some sort of crime by this judge?
Well, probably won't take long. But my question is how do you extract a leader of another country and bring him into your country and charge him according to your country's laws? And this doesn't make sense to me. I mean, if you would have taken him to The Hague or an international tribunal, you might have a little bit of plausible deniability.
Well, do you remember when the Europeans said that they were going to charge Bush W for war crimes, and we said that would be an act of war and we would resist with military might? You see, when you're stronger than the other team, you can do whatever you want. Might makes right. Which means Hobbes was right. Or at least the current government thinks Hobbes was right, not Locke.
Yeah.
But that's very moral when might makes right, isn't it?
Oh, very.
Well, so you don't have any confidence that this is going to be handled in anything even close to resembling justice, do you?
No. It's going to be kabuki theater, and he'll be released and probably become an American citizen.
Now, I don't know if you're aware. Yeah, I know. I don't know if you're aware of this, but Daniel Horowitz has been a big Trump supporter for a long time. Well, here's a piece from December 30th, 2025 on the Blaze Media. The courts are running the country and Trump is letting it happen, by Daniel Horowitz. He is correct. And if you don't know who he is a very well-known, very highly respected constitutional lawyer and scholar. I don't always agree with him, but his reasoning is usually very sound, even when I disagree with his conclusions. He's smart. I listen to him. I consider him a neutral voice. I don't consider him enemy, but he's not exactly my political ally either. But he's telling us the truth. The courts are now running the country, have been for a while, exactly the way Jefferson said they would. And Trump does have the authority, the legal means to handle this, and he's not doing it. I don't want to hear it. When the law is finally broken, when the crime starts again, we'll send in the National Guard and we'll do something about this. What exactly do you mean by crime, Trump, when somebody starts insulting you again? When somebody gives you a verbal owie or a boo-boo on your ears in the media, insults your ego again? Is that what it's going to take? I'm tired of this. I am. I'm tired of this. These courts are killing this country. Nobody's doing anything about it. You have legal ways of handling this. No political will to handle it. Gateway Pundit, Congressman Tim Burchett. Democrats weren't briefed on the Maduro operation because they would have run straight to the media. Well, I heard from Mr. Zinker today, before the show started, that there are reports out now that Jeffries tried to warn Maduro, but not in time. Now, I don't know whether or not that happened. I can't find a story on it yet. I would not be surprised. But I do understand this thing about not telling Democrats. It's just that Republicans leak too. I don't know if you're old enough to remember Ollie North in the Iran-Contra scandal. But Ollie played rope-a-dope with those people when they tried to catch him and drill him. And oh man, that's probably why they put him in jail, is he made them look stupid. Well, it wasn't hard. They are stupid. If they weren't, they wouldn't be congressmen. The fact that they're there means they're easily manipulated. Or they're actually part of the lower level intelligentsia running things. But there was one point where they asked Ollie why he didn't brief his superiors. And he meant, the congressman meant Congress. And Oliver North said, well, sir, I think he was a senator. He said, well, Senator, he says, this town leaks so bad that unless you can find a way to put a lid over it so that none of that information gets out, the only option you have is to tell no one. Otherwise, you're telling everyone. And Ollie said, so I told no one. Well, that's what this story is. You can't tell Congress anything because Congress does not care about the United States. Congress cares about its political agenda. And to that extent, they care about themselves. And oh my gosh, I keep taunting this book to you. I'll tell you about it later this week. But I keep taunting you with this book I've been reading. It explains this. It explains this in biblical terms. I now get it. I read this book years ago. I focused on something else. I've been rereading it. I don't know why. Holy Spirit told me time to read this again. I did. And I'm like, how did I miss this? It wasn't time to see it. I'm going to share it with you. I have no choice. It's beautiful. Now, I told you I was going to get to this. The Blaze Media. 3 Blaze TV hosts give their top 2026 predictions, and they're wild. I want to focus on Steve Deace's #1 prediction. America trades Taiwan for Venezuela's oil. If we give up Taiwan, you have absolutely no idea of the disruption that's going to cause in the entire world. And we're going to do it for oil. I don't know why. Oh, but yes, I do. Yes, I do. The United States has enough oil to be oil self-sufficient. We don't need it. But there's another player involved in all of this that nobody's talked about yet. It's in some of the stories I've been sharing with you. Qatar in the Middle East, Saudi Arabia, helped Trump get Maduro. Why would they do that? Because if China gets a hold of the oil from Venezuela, and then you have Russia aligned with China, it breaks OPEC's control of the oil market. This is primarily about oil, but this is about Washington, D.C.'s alliance with Islamic Middle Eastern nations and oil. Aramco still has its hands in the Middle East, in OPEC. It's an American oil company. It developed most of Saudi Arabia. It still gets money from all of this and power, immense amounts of money. I honestly believe China is to the Democratic Party as OPEC / Saudi Arabia Middle Eastern nations is to the Republican Party. And this is now that the Republicans are in power, they're going to go with their Saudi buddies. And that's what Taiwan, that's what Venezuela and the oil is all about, helping OPEC and the Saudis. And if they have to trade Taiwan as part of the bargain, they'll do it. By the way, the Blaze media is not the only one thinking this way. This is Asia Sentinel. Trump's Venezuela blockade helps China tighten noose on Taiwan. Turning the Caribbean into an American lake could justify the same game in South China Sea. You lose Taiwan. Charlie, you're a tech geek, right?
Oh, yeah. We lose
What
Taiwan.
happens?
Tech is destroyed.
Even in the United States.
So much of our technology comes out of Taiwan. Chip production, programming, hardware. Just a plethora of stuff comes out of Taiwan. We lose that, and it would cripple our nation technologically.
Would that serve the forces of the secular humanism, communism, China, and even the Muslim world?
Oh, yeah. Play right into their hand.
Okay. Trump's too smart to fall into that, right? He plays 4D chess with everybody, so somehow or another he's going to rope-a-dope all of these people in the same way, right?
Well, you see, Trump's a businessman, okay?
Who just likes to make deals.
Right. Deals, but also, insider trading technically is illegal, although it happens all the time. But if you know what's going to happen in the NASDAQ and you short all those stocks and then you go in and take Taiwan, you're a multi-billionaire. Overnight. It's just the way that thing works. Ooh, our sniper has some.
Yeah, she's got one.
Stuff to do.
All right, Charlie, I appreciate that. I'm not saying that's what's going to happen, folks, but that's what I'm seeing. It's illegal, what he did. It's a violation of the Constitution, plain and simple. I would like to see him prosecuted. I am not a member of the Cheeto Jesus cult. I try hard to aim for capital T truth and law and order according to the way the founding fathers established it for us. And they put it as best they could in line with natural law as they understood it. Locke's version, which comes out of Romans 1 and 2. Is it revealed law? No. But it's still in line with the Creator's order. We're not doing that anymore. The world is growing more and more lawless. Now, Mr. Spikes asked a question, what do we do? For the here and now, before I sign off today, don't be dismayed. Don't be discouraged. Don't become apathetic. Don't lose your passion and enthusiasm for life. This is what the scriptures teach us, folks. We are living behind enemy lines. We're in occupied territory. We have to become the resistance. That's what the Great Commission has always been about. This is a spiritual war. I'm starting to see it more and more clearly every day. The Divine Council Worldview, the book I'm reading now, The Bible Amongst Myth, a couple of other things I've been looking at, Islam, the things I've been getting ready to start teaching in this show in the next couple of weeks, all coming together. The Bible tells you that you are in enemy territory. The god of the air, Satan, was granted authority to rule over the world, the physical, what we think of as the earth, this universe. Scripture says he was given authority by the creator of the universe. He's been defeated and he'll be deposed legally. Yahweh doesn't act lawlessly. But until then, we're Yahweh's soldiers fighting a guerrilla war. We are the resistance. You have to teach the word of Yahweh, the gospel message, which is the kingdom, not just your personal salvation. That's part of it, but the kingdom of Yahweh, the rule of Yahweh. We are to subdue this earth and bring it in line with Yahweh's rule, Yahweh's order. But you have to do that in such a way that people align willingly. This is not Islam. If you do it by force, that is contrary to biblical teachings. You have to do it willingly. It starts with you. Do not allow the lawlessness to cause your love to grow cold. Lawlessness will increase, so the love of many will grow cold. Don't allow your love to grow cold. We cannot change the world individually. We can't. Nobody ever has, other than the Messiah. We can all influence it. Yes, that's true. Martin Luther King, heavy influence. Gandhi, heavy influence. But he didn't. We say he changed it, that these men changed it, but they didn't. They just influenced enough people that those people made changes within themselves, that the cumulative effect of the internal change on the individuals changed the society. Change always has to come from within, one person at a time, one victory at a time. You have to change yourself first before you can start helping others see the light and wrestle with themselves. So don't focus so much on the world right now. You still have to be in it. Just don't become of it. Focus on you, on how you react to it. My advice for the moment would be find your anchor, your rock, your hope. Trust in that anchor, that rock. Guard your peace and your joy. These are things that you can feel even in prison. So it's not happy, happy, joy, joy. It's not Ren and Stimpy peace and joy. It's greater understanding of the world and your place in it, peace and joy. For me, that anchor, my rock, is Yeshua Messiah and Abba Yahweh. I hope it's the same for you. I do. Because that peace and joy, when I turn back to it, it's always there. And I can watch the world rage around me. And it's okay. All is well with my soul. And when I focus on it too much, my mind gets in the way. You have to work on you first. If you haven't been with us long enough, spend a little more time with us on Wednesdays, but you have to use your spirit to bring your nephesh in line with the spirit. I'm not talking Gnosticism, but you have to take that animal, what we would call fleshly will, the nephesh, your will, your desires, and you have to use your higher order of thinking, your spiritual, transcendent spark of the divine in you, to beat that will, that fleshly will, the nephesh, into alignment with the spirit. And only you can do that. And if you don't think that's scriptural, I'm using scriptural terms, am I not, Charlie? Those are Hebrew words. And I'm using them properly, am I not?
Yeah.
So that's what I'm focusing on right now. The only person I can affect, me. And I'm going to invite you to try to do the same. It's a tough job. It's a hard job. It's a rewarding job. It will bring peace eventually. You got to work on yourself. Okay. I'm going to wrap up the first show for the year. Tomorrow I want to talk to you about AI. Oh boy, is that one scary. We will get to some of the changes that we wanted to make over the break that didn't happen. Got caught up with family and other things. We've got some stuff going on this end of the world. But I was doing my homework. I'm putting really decent classes together for you. We'll have them soon. Tough, hard, meat-chewing, gnawing on the bone classes on Islam. I've got Mr. Zinker's request on philosophy. Got a class on that soon. Probably next week, maybe Thursday. We'll see. But it's going to be a good year. I have a feeling. may not be a happy year in the happy, happy, joy, joy, Ren and Stimpy sense, but it's going to be a good year in the spiritual sense, or at least it will be for me. What it ends up being for you is up to you. Make that choice. It's a choice. Salvation's a choice. Your peace in this world is a choice. Make it. And then live a deliberate life based on that choice. So we thank you for being here. We love seeing those of you that are here with us again. It's missed you. I know that several of you have missed us. I'm sure most of you have, but I've heard from several of you. I appreciate that. It means a lot to us. Yes, sir?
Oh, yeah. And we'll probably have to do this on a different day because I just remembered it. But we have established a Signal chat that's available 24/7 and stuff like that. If you don't have it, install the Signal app, and if you email us, we'll send you a link. Email us your phone number or whatever, and we'll get you joined up to the chat. I will get the link and pop that up here. I didn't think about that till just now, but I'll get that on one of our next shows.
You can download Signal to your computer as well as your phone, and what that basically is it lets us chat 24/7 on a secured, encrypted, secured site that isn't Facebook, that isn't anybody else. It's just Signal, so it's just us. It's not even connected to Rumble.
Nope.
And you can send pictures and links and use it just like a chat room.
Yep. You can even make phone calls and video calls with it, and it's all end-to-end encrypted.
Powerful program. So it's free.
Cool. Yep.
And it's much more private than these other chat programs.
Yep. There won't be any.
And that way we can all become a community, which is my goal. That's what I'd hope for this show to become, as a community. So, all right. We love you. We've missed you. We will see you tomorrow. Y'all take care and stay safe. Bye-bye.